Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2022 historical action adventure film, The Northman, a film that is co-written and directed by Robert Eggers, and it stars Alexander Skarsgård, Nicole Kidman, Claes Bang, Ethan Hawke and Anya Taylor-Joy. Now the film focuses on Alexander Skarsgård's character, who as a boy witnesses his father, played by Ethan Hawke, being murdered by his brother, played by Claes Bang. He manages to escape and vows revenge and spends the next few decades basically building up his skills as a Viking in order to return to this land and take his revenge on those that killed his father, who was the king. Right, what are my thoughts on The Northman? Well, Northman, I saw the trailer of this, as many of you did as well, a couple of months ago, and thought it looked pretty spectacular. Now, the director, Robert Eggers, is a fairly acclaimed director now. He's done some really well-received films like The Lighthouse and The Witch. To be honest, I haven't seen either of those films yet. I have got The Witch on Blu-ray, I just haven't got around to watching it yet, and I've never seen The Lighthouse, so I'm quite late getting on board in regards to this director's work. And wow, guys, this is a film. In many ways, this is spectacular, this film. I mean, it looks stunning beyond words at times. It's actually a very simple story. It's essentially a revenge story. It doesn't really go much beyond that in regards to the story, thankfully, because there are a lot of things that go on in this film that will literally have you scratching your head. It's like, what is going on? What have they been smoking when they made this? There's lots of like really psychedelic stuff going on, you know, visions and all this kind of stuff. And I'll be honest, the first half an hour of this film, I mean, I really enjoyed the opening when we met the Ethan Hawke character and, you know, when we saw what happened to him being taken out by his brother and that dynamic, even though there was some weird stuff going on there as well. And then I struggled to really get it. I really was wanting to really enjoy the film the first half an hour, and I really struggled to get to grips with it. It goes fairly soon after to him as an adult, and it goes into a brilliant like battle scene, really brutal battle scene, and you're really getting on board. And then after that, it kind of goes a bit odd for me, and lots of visions, lots of dream sequences, and all this kind of stuff, and him, you know, knowing what he needs to do, and it's all associated obviously with Viking lore and all this kind of stuff, and I just struggled to kind of get on board with it. It wasn't speaking to me how the story was being told early on, and then I kind of settled into it after about 30 minutes, and it just became this treat of a film. There were still some moments of, like I say, this weird stuff going on in the film, but it kind of tied into the film a little bit better. It's hard. So it's one of those films that you feel silly critiquing almost because it's so good in many, many ways. But at the same time, there are aspects of the film I didn't enjoy. I thought it was a little bit over self-indulgent at times. And it's one of those films that you really have to watch 2 or 3 times to really appreciate what the film, you know, is doing and how it's telling the story, and you're settled into all these characters and everything that's going on in the film. I think it's one of those films that it's just going to improve every time you watch it, if that makes sense. But I really did enjoy the vast majority of this film. There were just aspects of some of the storytelling I just struggled with, which does feel a little bit odd saying it, but spectacular. I mean, the fight scenes are spectacular. They're not, you know, they don't make out Alexander Skarsgård's character to be like this untouchable Superman character. Yeah, he's a badass and he's brutal and he's really skilled, but there are a couple of moments in the film where he's outmanned or, you know, outmaneuvered or outthought or something like that. really good. Initially, I wasn't sure about the dynamic with Alexander Skarsgård and Anya Taylor-Joy, but I think that settled down, and eventually I really enjoyed their performance together and their dynamic and relationship. I thought Nicole Kidman was outstanding here in the film. Really. I don't want to give too much away as well, but yeah, I really enjoyed her character. I thought she was fairly despicable, actually, in a lot of ways. And I think the one who's not getting much mention here, from reviews I've seen, is Claes Bang, who I think played Dracula in that BBC drama a couple of years ago. He's really good. He's not this clear bad guy. It's not this. Another thing I'll enjoy about this film is, it doesn't give you very clear black and whites. This is the bad guy. This is the good guy. Enjoy this revenge tale. You think it's that, and then it's not. It becomes murkier as the film goes on, and you kind of question the Alexander Skarsgård character. Is he going too far? Is he being a little bit too brutal? Do they really deserve this? Yeah, so it doesn't make out that this is the bad guy, this is the good guy. There you go. Very simple stuff. It's not like that at all. It plays around in the grey area, this film, and you're not actually sure by the end who you actually think deserves to come out on top almost. It's that good at how it portrays the film. So it is spectacular, this film, in many, many ways. Very, very enjoyable. Like I say, a very, very simple tale. It's almost Conan-like in its storytelling, It reminded me certainly of Conan. What happened with the Conan character is very similar to what happens to this Alexander Skarsgård character. But he's very good, very enjoyable, beautifully made, some interesting choices, and one of those films that I'm very much looking forward to rewatching. I'm sure I'm going to enjoy it a little bit more the second time round. But just be warned, guys, it's not a Hollywoodized, like, Viking tale almost. It feels very raw, very dirty, very grimy. It's very brutal, and it's not got this Hollywood gloss and shine all over it. It does feel very immersive and different than what you're kind of used to with these sort of films. It's not, it doesn't pander to an audience or anything like that. So be warned, if you think you're going to go and watch this really eye-pleasing, Hollywoodized Viking film, you're going to be disappointed. It definitely isn't that. It's not what you kind of expect, but it doesn't make it any less enjoyable. It is certainly an incredibly enjoyable film, and I really, really enjoyed my time with it. So yeah, let me know in the comments what your thoughts were when you saw this film, and I'll be back with plenty more reviews and content on the channel very, very soon.